What's going on? Welcome to the Wolf Den. It is National Poetry Writing Month, and I wanted to make a video today around how to write spoken word poetry. That's actually probably a bit of a information because I'm not going to teach you how to write it. I'm going to teach you how to speak it, or at least show you how I speak poems into existence. My name is Tom, if you're new here, and I am a spoken word poet and performance artist.
You said, not everything means something to someone. See, sometimes some things mean nothing to no one.
That was me performing in Leeds a couple of years back, and for this video I kind of just wanted to give a rundown of sort of how I write my spoken word pieces. Very much, this isn't about poetry, this is about spoken word specifically because I write spoken word poetry, I also write page poetry, and I do other kind of writing as well. So this is specifically around spoken word, and what we're going to do over sort of the next 10 or so minutes is write a poem. I'm gonna speak a poem into existence, something brand new. So yeah, stick with it and let's jump in. So spoken word poetry, I think it's a very unique art form, but it's also very versatile. My style is very rhythmic. I love rhyming. So I'm not going to give you sort of any top tips because I think when it comes to writing spoken word and at least performing it and delivering it, it's down to the individual. But what I'm going to show you is how I work on poems from start to finish. Spoken word as a kind of whole in general, to me, it's like kind of rap music without the music, right? It's like rap but without the beat. So it's rhythmic. I like rhyming. You get lots of sort of assonance, alliteration, sibilance, kind of adding all those kind of literary techniques to bring it together and make it fit. My style is very concise and it's very performative, and I try to sort of keep it as tight as possible. Lots of wordplay, lots of sort of quick changes to my voice or inflection, all those kind of things to really make it performance. That's what I'm going to be taking you through today, and we're just going to jump straight in, and I'm going to sort of tell you how to approach writing this sort of stuff. It is National Poetry Writing Month, and I've been writing every day, and I have been using prompts, but I don't usually use prompts, especially when it comes to spoken word stuff. So I have about a 25-minute spoken word set that I've performed for a long time, and there's poems that come in and out of that set, but they all kind of fit within a certain structure. They have similar themes and ideas, and so for this poem that we're going to write today, I didn't want to have a prompt. I wanted to lean in with kind of the stuff I tend to write about more commonly and the ideas that I tend to sort of explore, as that's kind of going to be the best way for me to show you how to kind of break it down and how to really draw out your writing and get it in top condition. So the way I do it is I like to find out little rhyming couplets, and I like to just draw them out in my head or say them out loud and work on them until I have an idea which I think, oh, that's a great starting point for a poem. And then I will just talk out some of the rhymes. I always like to start with the start of a poem, and I know that sounds stupid, but there are times when I've thought of little rhyming couplets or ideas that I've had and I thought, oh, that's really nice, and I'll write it down and maybe use it sort of in the middle or end of another poem. But when it comes to really forming pieces, like full complete pieces, I really don't do it until I have a start, until I have an idea that I want to use as a complete jumping off point. So I'm kind of killing time talking because I'm thinking about what the starting off point for this poem is. And actually I want to talk about like self and identity and introspection and those kind of things. So the line that I'm thinking to start this piece with is to be human is to be a circus. So what I will do, so that's my first line. I like that. That's the kind of stuff my kind of stuff I like to like lead with and talk about. I like it. It sounds semi-smart, you know, pseudo-intellectual and all that stuff. So I like it. To be human is to be a circus. So now the next step is to find the next lines, and I use the rhyme to tell the story. So I use the rhyme to create the narrative. So I'm going to just say a few lines, make them rhyme, and then see if it gives me anything that I can use to turn into a poem that I can tell a story with. So let's go. To be human is to be a circus. To appear perfect, but beneath the surface, clowns and wolves exist within inside each person. I like that. I don't. I like it. I don't hate it. There's a few things that we can tighten up on, but that's cool. So, 4 lines, I think there, and I have a very, very good memory, so I will keep that in my head and I'll keep going over it. But it may help you to write it down. Usually, when I write, like those 4 lines might be one thing I do for one day. Let's say it's a Monday. I get those 4 lines. I might not think about this poem now until Tuesday or Wednesday when I add 3 or 4 more lines, or when I add a couple more lines, or I find lines to fit later down, and that's how I kind of put it together. And I'll always do it through memory. I won't write it down, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to write it down because I want to complete this poem today here, and I want to do it all sort of relatively quickly. So I'm going to write it down so that I can remember the jumping off points and I'm not reworking and stuff in my head. So my laptop's over here. I'm going to just type it out and it will probably appear on the screen, and then we'll work into the next part. I'm going to actually try something else because I like that little bit that I just read out, and it kind of draws out themes of like duality, and there's quite a lot of like imagery that I can do with like the different elements of the circus. But I just want to see, maybe I have another avenue that I can take, so I'm going to try it again. To be human is to be a circus. To appear perfect, but beneath the surface, clowns and wolves exist within each person. And I'm no different from everybody else. In fact, I'm different from everybody else. And I don't need no help. That's a double negative. Call that my mental health. No, I don't like it. It's too restrictive. Way too restrictive. I don't want to go into just sort of that mental health element. I quite like the rhyme scheme, but nah, I'll tell you what, we're going to type out the first one that I did, and then we'll work on the next kind of lines and put it together, and I'll give you a little brief explanation of how I'm going to form these ideas in my head and how I'm going to speak them into existence. Okay, so I really like that. I like the duality of like clowns and wolves. Like, it's fun, it's scary. That is like what the circus is. That is what being a human is. And I am gonna try and talk the next bit out. The rhyme, the reason I stopped with person is because I couldn't think of the next rhyme in my head, and I don't want to force rhymes. I want to tell a story. So I'm going to read it out again and try something different. I'm going to change the rhyme after person to something else and see if that gives me sort of any more indication as to where the story's going. But yeah, let's go. I mean, this could be a terrible, terrible poem, but I'll perform the entire piece at the end and you guys can pass judgment. But let's try this out. To be human is to be a circus. To appear perfect, but beneath the surface, clowns and wolves exist within each person. And my clowns aren't funny, but my wolves are hungry. I make myself the perfect prey, so now my wolves, they hunt me. Yeah, I like that. So that's the next lines that we're going to write down, get them in. It's about kind of like that feeling of doubt that people have, and the kind of like, oh, these are different parts of me, except I don't think they're quite as nice as sort of other people may think they are, or as nice as they should be. And actually that kind of leads into what I done with the first piece when I went down the kind of mental health way, but it wasn't so restrictive. This still leaves a lot of room to expand this story and expand the narrative of this poem and kind of take it in a few different directions, sort of weave it into different places, you know. So I'm just going to type those ones out, and then we'll come back and we'll think about what else we can add to this to really bring it together. Okay, I really like that at the moment, and I like this, like, oh, I've put a spelling error in clowns, lol. And again, you're reading it aloud, so spelling doesn't matter too much because no one can tell that you can't spell if you're just talking it. But I like this. I like the ideas and the imagery. I want to try and draw more circus imagery into this. So the next steps, the next bit that I might talk about might not necessarily be the direct lead on from this, but it'll be a part of the poem, and then I'll work out the story. So I want to add into this more circus imagery, more animals, potentially elephants, lions, those kind of things. But also I want this to be like a kind of, I don't want this to be a completely negative poem. I want this to kind of take a dip and a rise. I want it to end semi sort of hopeful. So I like the lion idea. So and also talking earlier, I was talking about assonance and sibilants and those kind of alliterations and that. And with lion, I think I could probably use something like dive deep down into the lion's den as a quite like fun way to do something with language and make it sound fun. Because when you perform these poems, these spoken word pieces, you want them to be fun, A, to perform, and B, for people to listen to. You want people to pick up the kind of love and the technical sort of style that you've put in first time, because they're not going to read these poems for sort of on page for 5, 6, 7 times to draw out a lot of your meaning. You want people's ears to prick up the first time they hear them. So I really like that lion's den line. I just need to work out how I can use it. So I think maybe this poem, I think what I can do with it now, because now I've got my first part, I can work out the journey. So I think the journey for this poem, for me, the piece is going to be the wolves are hunting me. So that's like my inner demons are like chasing me. And then the lion is going to represent strength, maybe to fight off the wolves, to like sort of shake off that self-doubt or whatever, to like move you into a place where you feel like comfortable, or you've lost your anxiety, or you're confident, or whatever. So I think that's where I'm going to try and go with it. Yeah, I like it actually. I've got an idea using that lion part. So I'm just going to flow and talk it off and use my rhyme scheme that I've already got here to see if I can add the next part of the poem. But yeah, let's see. So we'll start from the very top. And as I go through, you'll probably notice that it sounds different every time I read it. And as you do this, if you do repeat sort of your lines to get your next one, you will naturally choose different pausing points for breath or different inflections to put on different words. And it really gives you that like understanding of how you want to perform the poem, how you want it to sound. So, to be human is to be a circus. To appear perfect, but beneath the surface, clowns and wolves exist within each person. But my clowns aren't funny. And my wolves are hungry. I make myself the perfect prey, so now my wolves, they hunt me. And most days, I let myself be mauled. But not all. Some days, I dive deep down into the den of a lion. But I'm not hiding. It's a snare. And when I'm there, and that's it. That's probably as far as I can get. So, I mean, I made the narrative work. It's like running away and hiding and finding strength. I just need to work out now what I'm going to do. So the easiest thing I can do here is just describe, like, when you get to a point in a poem where you don't know what's going on, describe something. Describe what you can see. Describe what you can hear. Describe what you can smell. And it might just shift the story a little bit more. So the last line I said, when I'm there. So let me type this out, and then we'll revisit it from that point. Check it out. So I'm going to do this descriptive thing now. So I'm going to say, when I'm there, I see the trapeze. I see a tightrope walker defying gravity, traversing the impossible with relative ease. And now I have belief. The big band begins to play, ushering in the sound of another new day. And it sounds like relief. Yeah, I like that. That's another little bit. So I used the description to kind of bring in more of my circus imagery, describe what was going on around me. And I think that might have found me a little segue out of this poem. So it's forming. So you might notice like the ideas are forming as we go along. So it started out, I'm a human. These are my flaws. And sometimes I let my flaws get the better of me. Other times, Other times I run away and not hide, but I run away and I push myself to be better. And actually there's other external factors that can help me heal or help me come out of my box. I think that's where I'm going with this. So I just noticed the typos. It's so annoying. Let me type up this last little bit and then we'll continue on. This poem probably doesn't have long left now. I like to keep my stuff concise. A lot of the shows that I do are like alongside musicians or comedians. They're not very poetry heavy shows, and I really, really want people to hear my stuff and resonate with it and think it's cool and interesting. So I really keep it tight, concise, and like kind of as effective as I can. So we're probably like 8-9 lines out from finishing this bad boy off. But yeah, stick with me. At the end, I'm going to perform it in full, and let's see where this goes. I like this. I think I know. I think I can finish this now. I think I can finish it straight to the end. I hope I can. I just thought of a nice little ending rhyming couplet. I love to end on rhyming couplets personally. I love rhyming. I think rhyming couplets add sort of, it really rounds off your idea, brings a point to it. So the rhyming couplet I thought of for this is kind of around something like perform, then pause, and wait for applause. So actually, I'm gonna type that out. Perform, then pause, and wait for applause, because that's where I want to end. So now I need to work out, that's my end, that's my middle. How do I get there? I don't think I can use that relief rhyme again. I mean, you'll see like the rhyme schemes kind of changed. So I had trapeze, which is a half rhyme with gravity, and then ease, obviously it's a full rhyme, believe, and then play and day rhyme together, and then relief. So it's kind of, it's a bit all over the place. It's a bit like A and a half, A, B, B, A rhyme scheme. I don't know. It's just fun. It's fun to perform. It's fun to read. It's fun to write. So just enjoy it. Don't mess around as much as you can. Make it as creative as you can. So now I've got that, I need to work out where I'm going. So ushering in the sound of another new day, and it sounds like relief. Uncage the elephants and unleash the freak. Showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Places, people, places. The curtain raises. Introductions, performance, pause. Wait for the applause. Yeah, that's the end. I love that. I think that's great. I mean, usually, once I finish it, I just repeat the whole thing through my head and talk it out loud. Now, I'm going to write it down here. I'm not going to play with it and edit it, but usually, yeah, again, I would, but it's something that usually would happen over weeks. I'm not going to edit this one down too much. I'm actually just going to get in and perform this one as a full piece. Maybe practice a couple of times to see where I can drop sort of inflections and stuff, but I'm super happy with this. So yeah, let's just jump in to the performance side of this piece. To be human is to be a circus. To appear perfect, but beneath the surface, clowns and wolves exist within each person. And my clowns aren't funny. And my wolves are hungry. I've made myself the perfect prey, so my wolves, they hunt me. And most days I let myself be mauled, but not all. Some days I dive deep down into the den of a lion. I'm not hiding, it's a snare. And when I'm there, I see the trapeze. I see the tightrope walker defying gravity, traversing the impossible with relative ease, and I believe. The big band begins to play, usher in the sound of another new day. And now I feel relief. I tap my feet to the beat. Uncage the elephant, unleash the freak. Ladies and gentlemen, showtime. Please take your seats. Places, people, places. The curtain raises. Introductions, performance, pause. Wait for applause. Okay, guys, that is kind of everything for this video. We wrote a piece together. I hope that I've shared some sort of good tips for you around sort of how you can practice speaking out your poems, like different sort of techniques that you can use, different ways to sort of stylize yourself with your rhyme scheme, your internal wordplay, and also just kind of prompts for like, if you get to a point where you're stuck, what can you do to drag yourself out of that hole? I quite like the poem we wrote. It's not perfect, but I like it. It's great. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you thought of the video. I was thinking of doing one about page poetry as well, because I do also write for the page, and it's a very different process to spoken word. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this video in the comments down below. And until the next video, guys, peace.